All right, welcome to the 24.3 release video for June. My name is Jason Murphy. I'm one of the head nerds here at Enable. Really excited about this release. We've got a lot of things coming. We're doing things a little differently in this video, only because we're going to be talking outside of just the N-Central core platform. We're going to be talking about analytics. We're going to be talking about PME. We're going to also be talking about DMA, even though we've included that along the way. But also we're going to be talking about a lot of cool stuff that is now coming in N-Central. Check it out.
Okay, so let's get started. Let's talk about what's new in 24.3. This is the June release of 24.3. It is packed with updates to help our partners stay secure, as well as getting the most out of N-Central in their daily operations. First thing we're going to talk about is security enhancements. Okay, so there have been a couple CVEs addressed in this particular build. The two in particular are CVE 2024-28200, and the other one is CVE 2024-5322. Now, we do obviously encourage you to upgrade to this particular build only to address those particular CVEs. Now, this is important because obviously we need to plug some of those gaps. Now, if you are to Google any of those CVEs that I just mentioned, you may not find a whole lot of information on MITRE, for example, but it's one of those things that more information will come out on these CVEs in the coming days or weeks ahead. Okay, so as we continue to double down on more of our incorporation of Mac and iOS devices into N-Central, we have Device Manager for Apple, which is our MDM platform built into N-Central. For those that aren't familiar, we have a legacy version of mobile device management, which I'll get to in a moment, but also the new and modern Apple Business Manager that is now baked into N-Central. So first things first, we have done some updates to the UI and usability improvements directly for Device Manager for Apple. So as you can see, we're making this more and more fluid. If I can just move this out of the way, you can see more of that, company information, details, what have you. And obviously things like push certificates. So I did want to kind of point out that we're doing some UI updates and refreshes to this. One major change in terms of at least architecture is that if I was to come down to Mr. Joseph Furla's customer level, and that is Joe's Break Fix, we now have DMA at the customer level. And that is a major improvement right there. So you should be able to recognize that as soon as you upgrade to 24.3. So that's a pretty big one as well. One other improvement we have done as well is we have included OS Update Monitor. So you're going to be able to add that in. Now, I just did it at a device level. What I would obviously recommend is going into a service template and applying this OS update status directly to all of your Mac devices, so you're going to be able to recognize that one very, very quickly. One other one is the symlink to allow download of latest Mac agent without needing to know the version for improved use within custom scripting as well. So last but not least is that if you are using DMA, Device Manager for Apple, and also the legacy mobile device management, if we can come in here, you're going to be able to see things like serial, make, model, but also you're going to be able to see manage by, right? So are you using DMA? Are you using the legacy version, which we have here? So that is what we have for updates in terms of Device Manager for Apple and Mac OS and iOS. So more and more obviously coming on that front. Okay, so let's talk about the Enable Technology Alliance Program, or what we call TAP internally. This is a really cool area of our business where we get to collaborate with third-party vendors or technology providers that allows them and us to collaborate on enhancing Enable's portfolio of solutions where we can do things like integrations, right? So I would highly recommend, if you haven't checked it out, please do so. You can view all of our integrations and partnerships right here. under View Our Tab Partners. Um, One I would like to talk about is Hudu, and I'm pretty sure you've probably heard of them. They're kind of an up and coming name in our space. Hudu is a IT documentation and knowledge management platform. Obviously, like all knowledge management platforms, it allows you to do things like documentation, allowing you to store your network configurations, passwords, procedures, obviously making your MSP and your service delivery much more efficient. The next one up I would like to talk about is DeskDay. Now, this one's really interesting because this is a workspace management platform. And you've probably heard of PSA. This is a little different. This is conversational service automation. So, what you're able to do here through Teams, for example, is do desk booking, meeting room scheduling, and real time occupancy tracking, allowing your business to efficiently manage their physical workspaces. So again, you may want to check this one out. It's pretty cool. And then we have PixM. I think I'm saying that right. PixM. It's a cybersecurity solution focused on preventing phishing attacks using advanced AI-driven technology. So, for example, when you go to the web and you're clicking on things, it's using real-time analysis through the visual elements in the web. So you're able to obviously prevent any of those phishing attacks that might be coming through your end users. So again, please check out those three vendors. Obviously highly interested in now working with them. Let's talk a little bit about performance. Obviously, if you have upgraded your Central Server to 24.1.2, there have been some minor performance issues with those particular builds. We have spent a lot of time in 24.3 improving on that. So I just want to quickly show you, only because this is a lot of back-end architecture fixes that we're having to do with caching, for example. What we have done is we have done some benchmark testing where we have seen CPU utilization and CPU load considerably decrease since 24.1 and 2 compared to 24.3. I did want to point that one out only because I've had a number of partners kind of reach out to me on that front. So when it comes to some of the architecture fixes, for example, we are looking at submit queue processing, API response times, and obviously much, much more. So you should be at this point in 24.3 in a much, much better spot than you have been previously. Okay, so next up is PME. We're going to talk about the patch management engine. So if I just scroll up here, that's version 2.11.2a or 2GA. Obviously, the GA version, the generally available version that is out now. I did want to talk about the Windows 11 upgrade improvements. So basically, historically, we were using 21H2 when we were upgrading Windows 11. We have now updated that to the 23H2 version. So that should be a nice change so that obviously you're not having to do more and more updates. The cumulative update install improvements. Now, this one, I wouldn't say it's a little tricky, but I did want to kind of elaborate. So there is a Windows Update standalone installer only for the N-Central offline patching only. So if you are doing any of the offline patching, this applies to you because if you're using the online patch engine, we're already doing this. But I did want to point out that if you are using it, using the what is it? I believe it was using the cab files via DSIM, which is the deployment image servicing and management. So basically, we have now upgraded that, and we'll be using the, I believe it is here, the MSU file. So there we go. So I just wanted to kind of point that one out. Now, a little bit of contention over this one, but it is what it is. Microsoft has done some deprecation, and we can no longer reliably kind of control who gets access to Windows Update. So we have deprecated that functionality where it has previously been limited to administrators. Okay. So I did want to point that out. One thing I did want to point out is that we are recommending that if you need to control this particular feature still, you can do so via GPO. And if you look at a GPO under Windows Components and Windows Update, you will see remove access to use all Windows Update features, and you would obviously enable that. So I just wanted to kind of point that one out as well. So that's it for PME. Okay, so let's talk about one of my favorite things, and that is REST API endpoint additions in 24.3. A huge shout out to people like Michael Killingbeck who's the PM for our PM leader for our REST APIs, as well as Mostafa Hosseini, who's on our engineering team. Combined, they are doing a tremendous amount of work, bringing more and more APIs. Now in 24.2, we have went from 39 function calls to now 61 in 24.3. We've enhanced some existing functions previously of those 39, but we've also added 22 in this particular release. So first things first, as you're looking at N-Central, what you're going to want to do is go to your fully qualified domain name / API Explorer. So add that in, and what you'll get is our Swagger board. And in here is where you will see all of those additional API endpoints that we have added, along with all of those additional function calls. So we now have, all of these put requests into custom properties, as well as if I come back into what was the other one I wanted to show you, organizational units. So all of those, and you can see the previews under all of the ones that we have added that are brand new. Okay, now, obviously, I'm not going to go through all of those APIs. Just know that we're putting in all of this work, and we do want you to obviously use these APIs. If you don't know how to use APIs within N-Central, we have a bootcamp for that. So myself, your favorite head nerd, and Paul Kelly do these boot camps so that you can learn more and more about how to use them, how to interface with them, how to pull and change information in N-Central so that you're getting the most out of your N-Central RMM. So unlike other release videos that I've done, since I think the first one I did was 23.7, but since then I've only really talked about N-Central core releases, the stuff that really affects N-Central. None of the tools that are built in or what have you. But this time I'm going to actually bring in SentinelOne EDR, only because such a vast majority of our partners are using it. So advanced notice for Z or Z. I'm a Canadian, so I usually say Z, but I'll try to say Z from here on out. SB5 EDR console update. So what you can do with this particular release is now upgrade that. Now, there was a unforeseen delay. We are pleased to announce that on June 2nd, during SentinelOne's regular schedule update maintenance window, that SentinelOne version Z, SB5, will also be upgraded. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire release notes, but I do recommend if you do want to come over to status.n-able.com, click on there will be two buttons. You're going to click on release notes. Do check out advanced notice Z SB5 EDR console update for June 2nd, only because this is chock full of release information about what has been enhanced and upgraded within that particular release. So I did want to kind of pull your attention to what is happening on that SentinelOne EDR front. Okay, so in 24.3, we're going to talk a little bit about usability improvements, quality of life improvements, we'll call them. As you can see in the all device view, we have added serial number, make, and model, some additional columns effectively, to the all device view. Now, obviously, this is kind of handy because one, you can ask your customer for a serial number, asset tag, whatever might populate this field. And from here, you can actually come in and obviously filter on that information, pulling up the device and getting to the device much more quickly. As well, we have done the exact same thing for the active issues view. However, we have only added the serial number field. So again, same kind of thing. In the all device view, you can pull up the device using that serial. You're able then to traverse into the active issues view and pull that up as well. Okay, so those are two little enhancements we've done around adding columns. One other one I would like to point out is with servers-Linux, it was not possible previously to run AMP-based automation against those devices. So now what you're going to be able to do is just that. So what we're going to do here is we'll select a Linux device. Well, let's pick one that's actually working. And then what we're going to do is add task. Now from here, you can run automation policy. And what we're going to do is now choose something like SSH, and then we'll add that in. We would obviously complete the rest of the input parameters. And then from here, what we can do is now use executing devices to be able to run that from. So if you have this particular device in tray research, for example, we're obviously going to come in and choose that best available right here. Or what I can do is actually select my dedicated probe and run the automation directly from it. Okay, so that is a nice little enhancement that any of our Linux nerds like myself would obviously appreciate. Now, one other one we have added in, this is a nice one as well, is under domain user management. So configuration and then domain user management. What we're going to be able to do here is if you look at the additional field, there's something called last reset date. So we've added in that field. Okay, so you're going to be able to see things like last logged in and also last reset. So you can obviously do that compare. And then, if you're doing any compliancy requirements or what have you, you can at least verify, that it hasn't been since 2022, where we created an account for Lewis. Okay, so we could do something like obviously coming in and resetting that particular account. One additional one we have also enhanced is dashboards. So if you come into the dashboard view and click on Manage Dashboards, what you're going to be able to come in here is click Add, and you will now see a filter option where you can actually just type in something like laptop, and then I can actually come in and choose my laptops and add that in directly. Being able to search through sometimes the hundreds, and if not, sometimes the thousands of filters that are in Central. Okay, so that is a nice one to have as well. And last but not least, and I will move my little video out of the way because I do want to show you that under service templates, we have now added a total count. Okay, now you might be thinking, well, that seems like pretty minor. However, when you have hundreds, if not thousands of devices, and you're trying to apply a service template, you do want to make sure that those counts, do compare. So you could do something like go to the all device view, for example, find that particular account. So say it's 66, for example. Well, if you have, 66 workstations, you would want to surely have the template for all of those workstations apply to those 66, making sure those 66 correspond correctly. Okay, now those are the usability and UI improvements that we have done in N-Central. Obviously, more and more coming on that. One thing I do want to point out is that as we enhance our ability to improve N-Central over the coming year ahead, is that this will be the all assets view. This is the more modern view that we'll get into in the second half of this year. And this is where obviously we unveiled this at our Empower event. And I'll just move myself over here. And then from here, what you can see is that you're going to have all of those, data points that you're going to want to for example, filter on. So again, being able to move between the all assets view and the all device view to be able to get to things much more fast and fluidly. So I just want to kind of point that out. Okay, so last but not least is analytics. And I'm going to spend a little extra time on analytics because there are some very cool things that the analytics team here at Enable has done to bring you more and more value within the integrated analytics through Power BI, but also through direct data access, which is what you're looking at next. I just want to kind of give everybody a semblance of all of the tables and all of the structure that is in here. Now, if I go into the analytics data model, you will see everything that is listed here. I do have a little bit of some additional information that I do want to pull over, which I just copied and pasted in here. It is in our release notes, but we are highlighting some use cases around the data that we have incorporated based on the new data domains that we've added. So you can see those data domains here: antivirus status and threats, device logins, firewall incidents, network bandwidth and traffic, patch compliance, remote access and usage. But some of those use cases are like, last agent check-in by device, last user logged in, OS version. Like, this is all the customized stuff that you can pull directly from the analytics database. Okay, so I did want to kind of point that out really quickly. And I just want to kind of quickly show you in terms of the table structure, all of that data which is now sitting here. We've got dim tables and fact tables. From here, what I can do is now open this up. And if I want, I can go into, let's see, what's a good one to pick here? I'll go into dim patch. And then from there, I can see my data preview. Now I will cover this up right here. And then what I can do is see all of my patch data that is across everything. Now, I won't get into a whole analytics and SQL, boot camp for the most part, only because I know Joel Furla is doing that already. But just know that the data is here and it's ready to go. So if you want more information, or if you want to get your hands on what we call direct data access, aka DDA, I do recommend that you come in here. There's some cool stuff that you can do directly in analytics as well. Now I'm going to put this right over here to cover up any sensitive information. So I want to come into worksheets and I'm going to click into this. And then from there, what I can do is I'm just going to copy and paste a quick SQL query that I have, that Ingrid was actually nice enough to build for me. So I can do that. And then what I can do is play. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be able to query all of that data based on that query. And you can see things like device name and the last user who was logged in based on a calendar date. So again, that is a lot of value that we're bringing within integrated analytics and also direct data access.
Okay, so that concludes our 24.3 release video. My name is Jason Murphy. I hope you're really excited about what we're bringing to the table in this particular release. Obviously, I'm including things in this video around analytics, for example. Again, more around DMA, Device Manager for Apple. And of course, more and more being done around N-Central REST APIs. I'll see you again soon. Thank you.